Hello, my name is Jim McGillivray and this is the Pipe Box, your source for all things piping. If you find this video useful, please click that like button. And if you would like to be informed when more videos like this are released, please click the subscribe button. We're going to go over a tune today, and you can print the music out for this tune by going back to the description of this video on my YouTube channel, where you will find a link to a PDF. Today I would like to do with you a competition reel in 4 parts. The tune is called Major Manson, and it was composed by Peter R. MacLeod Sr. Peter MacLeod Sr. lived from 1879 to 1965, and he resided in Glasgow. Over the course of his lifetime, he composed scores and scores of tunes. Among them are such classics as The Conundrum, Pipe Major William McLean, John Morrison of Ascent House, Pipe Major Hector McLean, the Rhodesian Regiment, and more. Peter MacLeod had a son, Peter R. MacLeod Jr., who was a great player and also a great composer. We found over the years we're not entirely sure which Peter R. MacLeod wrote which tune in some cases. We do know, however, that Peter R. MacLeod Sr. wrote Major Manson, and we know that it is one of our great competition reels. That's what we will focus on today. Let's have a quick look at the whole score. We'll do most of our work in this tune on the first part, and what you learn there will apply to the rest of the tune. In orange squares on this music, you will see quarter notes. We're going to make sure we give all of those quarter notes their due length. In the red circles are lots of short notes, 16th notes. These 16th notes all appear on beats or off beats, and I find that they are often crushed by pipers. We'll talk about how to open those notes up and make sure they're squarely on the beats and off beats. The blue circles are GDEs, which are a very, very common pattern in reels. We'll talk about some very specific expression for the GDEs. In the last part are 2 circles around what is the most difficult piece of technique in this tune, a D shake, and we will talk about that in detail. Now let's listen to the whole of Major Manson played on a Dagger electronic chanter. Okay, let's have a look at the first part. A lot happens here, and we're going to learn a lot about the tune in this part. It opens with a burl from high A onto a quarter note. The quarter note has an orange box around it. You're going to make sure that quarter note is nice and long. All the way through the tune, quarter notes nice and long. They all start bars for the most part. Right after that quarter note is a circled C 16th note, followed by a tockum. What we're going to do with that 16th note is very simple. We're going to keep it nice and open. We're not going to crush it. We're playing this tune in what I call an open style, in which the long notes are still held, but the short notes are fairly open. It's not clippy, and it's not round. It's somewhere in the middle. So that tockum after the first low A. Hear how nice and open and audible it is. Avoid this. dum takum. At the end of this bar, we have a GDE that starts on C and ends on low A. It has a takum in the middle of it. We want to treat GDEs very specifically in this tune, whether they have takums in it or not. We want to make sure the first note in the GDE is held, but the short note which follows, we don't want to play too short. We want it to be nice and open too. So this GDE at the end of bar 1 may sound something like this, as opposed to dee duckum, dee duckum. Bar 2 also begins with a quarter note. We're going to see lots of bars that begin with quarter notes in this tune, and we're going to stretch them all out. And we have another takum GDE at the end of bar 2, treated the same way. Bar 3 starts with a quarter note. You'll see 2 16th notes circled in red. We're not going to crush them, as I mentioned before. I want to tell you exactly where these 2 notes appear with reference to the beat. Bre hum be hockey huckum. If I count this bar in double time, bre dum be hockey huckum, you see that those 2 C's are on pulses. One's on the on beat, one's on the off beat. We want to make sure we hit those on beats and off beats. Your tendency will be to play those short notes early and short. Keep them nice and open. Bar 4 ends the line, quarter note to start, and then a GDE takum from B. Again, don't crush it. None of that. Line 2, bar 1, we have 2 circled 16th notes again. The first one is on the on beat, the second one is on the off beat. Huckum, huckum, again nice and open and audible. Not. Let's go to line 2, bar 3, which is the same as line 1, bar 3. Again, we have our 2 circled 16th notes that are on the beat and the off beat. This is part of the ending, and the ending continues in bar 4 in line 2 with a short D that opens up the bar. Bre-dumpa hucky huckum akum. We're going to punch that D out. We're going to wait for it, make sure it's right on the beat, and we're going to make sure it's nice and open. Avoid crushing that D. No, nice and open. Remember, you're going to play the ending 4 times in this tune. It's always worthwhile to spend time on the endings in a tune because we play them so often. Okay, that's everything I know about the first part. Let's hear it played on a practice chanter. If you've mastered the details of part 1, there isn't too much new in part 2, but we will go over a couple of points. Bar 1 and bar 2 begin with quarter notes, a reminder that we push the quarter notes out as much as we can. Bar 2 ends with a GDE from a C takum. We're going to hold the C, we're going to open out the GDE. 3 opens with a short F. We've learned that short notes that are on beats or off beats need to be played squarely on those beats or off beats, and they can't be too short. So don't crush this short F to begin that bar. Jacambo. Nice and open. Bar 4 is very similar to the opening bar in the tune with some different notes. It begins with a burl on a quarter note that we're going to hold out, then a tockum that we're going to keep nice and open, and then a G, D, E from B, again that we're going to point the first note on and keep the G, D, E open. Okay, that's all that's new in the second part. Let's hear it on the practice chanter. The third part begins with the G, D, E on low A. I should tell you that I have an entire video devoted to playing G, D, Es in real time. If the way I would like you to play these G, D, Es is a little bit different from what you're used to, you may want to have a look at that video. So bar 1, we're going to point the low A, but we're not going to make the next low A too short. In bar 2, right in the middle of bar 2, we see an F 16th note circled in red. That 16th note falls on the beat, and we know what we want to do with short notes on the beat. We want to hit them as late as possible, and we want to keep them fairly open. So bars 1 and 2. Nice open short F. Much the same thing happens in line 2 of the third part. Let's hear the third part on the practice chanter. The fourth part begins with 2 quarter notes that you're going to hold out for their full length. At the end of bar 1 is an E strike. There's a short note in front of it. It comes from high A down to a short E followed by the strike. You want the E before the strike to be audible. There's a very fine difference between that E being audible and being crushed. Keep it fairly open to the best of your ability. At the end of bar 2, we have a C strike, and we're going to do the same thing there. Keep the C before the strike fairly open. Just before that, in bar 2, is what will be for some pipers a bit of a boogeyman, what we call a D shake. A D shake is played like this. It's on D, G grace note, E grace note, strike. G grace note, E grace note, strike. The key here is not to play it as fast as you can. It's a nice, open, rippling movement. If you've never played it before, you'll need to work on it outside of this tune. Hold the note before it, hold the F before it, and then keep the movement nice and open. Okay, that will take a little bit of extra work, but it's a great piece of crowning technique at the end of this wonderful tune. That's all that's new in the fourth part. Let's hear it played on the practice chanter. As I've mentioned in some of my other videos, the metronome can be a really valuable tool in helping you learn exactly which notes fall on which beats and off beats. It's a great tool, and if you're serious about playing well, you should use it. The recording I played on the dagger earlier was about 82 beats per minute. Optimum tempo for a competition reel would be between 82 and 86 beats per minute. Your tempo will depend on your technical capability. As I've often said, you're not going to play a tempo that exceeds your technical capability. I played that reel at 82, so if I take the metronome and I take my 82 beats per minute and I double that to 164 beats per minute, now I'm in double time and I'm hearing a click on the beat and the offbeat. And that is what I sing to. Here's a little bit of Major Manson sung to the metronome. He hum takam paka dumpity tumpity 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 huckam po taka taka tumpatakam pakan taka tumpity 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 huckam pakam pati tumpity tati tumpity 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 tumpity, etc. When I sing to that metronome like that, I can hear every short note, exactly where it goes, and I can really sense how long to play it. Use the metronome, especially for reels and marches, but it works for strathspeys as well. Okay, that's it for Major Manson, one of our great competition reels from one of our great composers. For this week, from me, Jim McGillivray, at the Pipe Box, good piping.